everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tube, where it's our show where we review things in the world of television, but today we are giving our predictions for a hypothetical upcoming third season of Heels. Because if you're unaware, for the last 8 or so weeks, it's kind of been long in the tube. This has been a very, very detrimental second half of summer vacation for me. Well, summer vacation, whatever you want to call it. It's been long. It's been very, very long. Season 2, we finally wrapped the entire review season. You can check that live over on youtube.com/ActionX. So you can see all the episode. We've done a breakdown of every episode in Season 2. And now Season 2 has come to an end. Now we want to talk about Season 3, baby. Which, the only update I can share with you is that Stephen Amell, prior to the strike, prior to just how this year went, in reality for... obviously for the business of Hollywood with, both back-to-back strikes, just how a lot of things are changing in the TV landscape. It's just like, this has been like the most changing year I've ever seen in the history of my life. And again, I've only been alive for like almost 26 years. So I'm like, it wasn't that long, but I'm like, I lived through some things. I lived through some interesting times in like the world of television. The only update is that they were supposedly breaking down what Season 3 would be. It wasn't a renewal per se. It was more like getting the balls in order of like, if we do get a Season 3, we're ready to roll, we're ready to rock in. And honestly, just the way Season 2 ended, though I said this at the end of the Season 2 finale review, but I said that they must have shot a second ending to Heels, where just in case if they weren't going to get renewed, that there would be an ending where like, okay, this is kind of like the ending, like, it kind of wrapped a couple things up. It kind of felt like a very good yet loose ending to the show. But the way they ended Season 2 with, again, there will be spoilers throughout the entirety of Season 2. So if you have not yet seen the second season of Heels, please turn away. Go watch the entirety of it, which is available on Starz. It's the only way you can see it right now. You got to pay $3 a month right now. I believe that's the current offer. So go do it, binge it all, and then cancel it right away. That's what I at least did. But yeah, not to go forward into it. Jack got paralyzed, and a lot of characters are being sent to very interesting places, where we would pick up in a Season 3. And honestly, already on the mood set of like Season 3 could feel like a brand new beginning, where like characters, it could be a whole new dynamic. You bring in new characters, keep things fresh. And I said this at Season 2 of Heels, and I'll talk more about it next week when we do our Season 2 review, is that Season 2 doesn't feel like Season 2. It feels like the natural continuation of Season 1, where like it's just the same story, but they're just telling more of it, which I think is perfect, because like that just speaks to the quality where like there is no change. There is no like, it has either greatly improved or just remains the same. And already Season 1 was like, for me, we hailed it as a near masterpiece with that first season. Season 2, we'll talk more about that next week. But it just leaves you wanting more of like, where are they going to push these characters next? Especially having them cripple Jack in a physical aspect. How will that, kind of, shepherd his position among the DWL in the midst of a changing environment for them going into a third season, mind you. So we're going to give all that today, just everything I'm going to expect and everything, when we can expect it, how, why, all the questions that I at least want to predict about when we hypothetically get it. So, started off, do I think we'll get a Season 3 of Heels? I believe yes. I think just given Star's track history of making 4 different power shows, and I made that joke throughout the last few weeks, we're like, yeah, I don't know who the audience is for this power show, let alone to make 4 book series of them, but I'm like, you know what? If you can do that, you can afford a couple more seasons of Heels. You can. Heels is not that expensive. It's literally a wrestling show, with some great star power, both well known and very much up and comers, and even people that I never recognize. Like, I'm just surprised. I'm like, every time I do one of these new shows, like, I'm just surprised of how many other talented actors and actresses there are in the business, and I'm very happy to get to know a few new faces there and there. So, with that being said, I do believe we will get a Season 3. I think this is natural. The first 2 seasons have been critically acclaimed, and I will not be surprised if, as soon as, like, obviously the reason why I think there's a hold up right now is because of the strike. So if you're unaware, if you've been living under a box for the past few months, the Writers Guild of America and the SAG-AFTRA, the Union for Actors, are on strike as of this recording. I think when this is posted, the writer's strike could be over. At least when I'm recording this, they are in deep negotiations right now, which is a good sign. That doesn't mean 100% certain that it's going to be over, but because you still got to focus on the actor side of things. But when the writers are able to, get back to work and everything, that would mean that, okay, we can possibly continue developing a third season of Heels, which would make it more easier to do so. So with that being said, I do believe we will get a Heel season 3, and I really hope that isn't the jinx, because I did that for Perry Mason last spring and we got canceled. So I'm like, I really hope that's not the case. I really hope. Hopefully, I won't rue future Joe. I will just, or rue past Joe, me in the future, if that makes sense. But what do we expect? So originally this season was supposed to come out last year, because they shot this last year, and that was the plan originally, to air this at the very end of 2022. However, I believe MGN or the team behind Heels, their parent company got bought out, so they were in the middle of an acquisition. So they were kind of in the midst of they aren't going to release anything right now, because just they need to realign the chakras. The new heads have to figure out when do we release stuff by. So then we finally got the summer release date, which is great for us. But this show has been, from what I heard, long in the wrap since like last year fall. So I'm like, this season has been done for a while. It's just been waiting to go. So for season 3, I mean, if they were writing some stuff beforehand, and as soon as the strike is over, I presume you get a couple months, maybe a few months, to get back into the room and like crank out a brand new batch of 8 episodes. I could imagine this will return probably fall 2024, if not winter 2024. I think that would be my best guesstimate to see when we get to see these characters again. It's still it's still a while away, but keep in mind we already waited more than a year from the first season going to season 2. So I think the wait will be worth it. When it comes to great quality television, put as much TLC as you can on it, because literally in this day and age, you can really screw it up. You get an amazing first season, and then afterwards you're gonna have a pretty shitty second season. This is the case where no, they were cooking for such a long time, and now here we are, 2 full complete seasons, of a very high caliber. Now done. Let them do the same for season 3. So I will imagine this will come out winter of 2024, most likely. Most likely. Now, jumping to what do I think the overall story is going to be. So where season 2 leaves off is that the big primary motivator is going to be the merger. So the streaming service that was courting both the DW and Dystopia are thinking of signing both of them on officially, but they're going to have to do a lot more crossovers, a lot more synergy. They'll still have their own identities, but they're going to be working together a lot more so because they're on the same streaming platform. There's going to be crossovers and everything of the sort. And considering the fact that the season literally ends with presumably Jack and Gully burying the hatchet, being done with their arrangement and moving on to their own personal avenues, having to be forced to still be together is going to be a little bit tricky, to say the least, especially the way how Jack's in at the end of the finale, as well as a multitude of other things that are going on, like this, the relationship between these two now being formally signed together on for the basically, at least for, let's just say, a 5-year period, if that's your standard contract fees, that they're fucked. They're really fucked in the teeth right now. If they can barely survive half a season working together, imagine a whole season, if not more, together. That's going to be a really it's going to be a big blow to both of their egos, but that's going to be the price that may be. And of course, obviously, the other big factor is Jack being paralyzed, which we'll talk more about the character section. But Jack being paralyzed does set a big precedence to the season. That doesn't mean he's going to be out of commission. I can imagine if they were going to do something like that, either Jack's going to be, kind of mentally broken again throughout the 3rd season, or he's going to be more of a recluse just because he's embarrassed. Because again, the way we got in that flashback portion in season 2, in the finale, where Jack was warned many times, do not do that stunt, do not do that move. That is going to kill you, if not paralyze you. And he did it just because he needed a bigger pop. He needed that big wow factor to kind of, guarantee their victory at the end of the day, which worked, but it cost them, at least at this point, his body. Now, of course, they could always do the traditional season premiere joke, oh no, he's just paralyzed temporarily, he'll be back in a couple weeks. I don't think that's the case. I think they're more along the lines of they're going to keep the consequences sticking around for a while longer, if not. I don't know if it's a full body paralysis or a lower body paralysis. It seems like to be more full body, so that'll be a little bit of an interesting approach to see, especially for the DWO that looks at Jack as their leader. And, their leader's, physically imposing. He's, not only got a strong voice, he's got a really nice body. Take away the aspect he can't move, how does that make him a credible threat anymore? Like a credible, like, power player. He'll be limited a lot. Definitely there'll be people walking over him. It's like, the next big, hurdle for them to go for is like the DWL finally has an opportunity to rise itself up with its leader, like, shepherding the way, making the deal, smooth talking the president, the VP. I forgot what not Adrian Chase's title was. And that was the plan, but now with him being out of commission, at least for half a season, mind you, that's going to definitely bring a big blow. And if Gully's nearby, still trying to court Cristo, who has rejected his offer, but if Jack's not in play anymore, and Ace has to step as the leader, which again I don't think that's going to really align with his trying to evolve himself to be this new person, as we saw brief glimpse of it in the last few episodes. It may not be so. The DWL might not be in the best leadership standpoint, so I can imagine Gully trying a takeover, which will keep him around as the main antagonist force for season 3. Trying to be like, okay, we're working together, but at the same time, I'm trying to take you guys out. That's gonna kind of be the angle that they might play here. And I wouldn't be surprised if season 3 a lot of people jump ship just because Jack is just not there anymore. Not even if he's there physically, I cannot imagine the mental toll it's going to take on him. Like that's going to be a major player in season 3. That's going to be like the guiding force. Those two points I made were like, it's going to be a big one. It's going to be a really interesting one. Now going to the character specifically, we'll tee that off into Jack's territory. Yeah, Jack really has like season 2, they were trying to make him a better person, which they were. This was a much more open Jack, someone that was more receptacle to other people's opinions, other people's feelings most times than not. Normally it's just been himself and the DWL. That was his primary focus. He lost sight of it when he kind of had to push his brother to his side, kind of had to put his family aside a little bit to focus on the business, and that wasn't healthy. And we saw that progression in season 2, that he was being more healthy, more responsible about it. The fact that he lost the ability to move is going to be a big problematic issue for him to climb because I've never experienced this. Obviously, I'm still moving. I'm still, I'm obviously physically capable. I will just show you I can stand. I'm not. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. I'm weird sometimes. But the point I'm trying to make is that him not being able to wrestle, and yes, he's a writer too. He's also the leader of this entire league. There's other responsibilities he's had. It's like he's not going to be the same anymore. He's not going to be able to play with his son again, make love with his wife, obviously, get in the ring again and, wrestle his heart. He can't do those things anymore. Those are done. And unless they can get some sort of medical insurance gold standard, there's no way anyone's going to fix him. Spinal injuries are the worst things to fix because, that's a very sensitive area of the body. If you even get that damage one time in your life, it's never the same. It really is never the same. There's no, you can recover for 2-3 years. It will never be the same. So, in this case, with him, that would be his main driving force. And I'm honestly really curious to see what Stephen Amell can do with the role because, I've witnessed his acting ranges throughout 8 seasons of Arrow and now 2 seasons of Heels. I know he can deliver great moments, and the fact that he's going to play a character in such a difficult position in his life is going to be a treat to see. How far can you push the envelope? How far can Jack go before he finally mentally breaks? This is just the beginning. You see that at the end of season 2 where he wants to cry. He wants to. He realized what he did. He doesn't regret it, but at the same time, he does regret it. That he's stuck like this, and he just wants to cry and say, I fucked up. We're here now. I can move. What is next? And that's what I think is going to be the most, it's going to be very sad, and it's going to be very powerful at the same time. What's going to be able to happen there? What is going to be able to happen there? Moving to Ace, where Ace has been the most, oh my god, the characters turn up a very big 180 degree that I wasn't expecting. When the way we kick him off in season 2, he's on his own. I honestly thought he was going to spend the entire season kind of just traveling the country, finding his purpose, finding his people. And he's gone on a very interesting journey, mind you. He went on a camping trip by himself for a bit. He broke his ankle, kind of fell off a cliff. I thought, is this how they kill off Ace? Is this how he goes? But thankfully now they don't kill him off. They just kind of reduce the character down to its foundation again. Strip away all the wrestling title, all like the DC done throughout season one. You know, especially his in episode, I want to say 3 or 4. I think it was 3, where he talks to Jack. In the motel room, and they're just having an honest. This is the culmination of like the last year of their existence together, of being brothers. Where like Jack has always kind of viewed Ace as like not like his inferior, but like at the same time he's never considered Ace as an equal, and they're brothers, and that's always hurt Ace, and especially everything that Ace has done, that Jack has done to him during the entire first season. That was a really big moment between them. It was a very crucial moment in their relationship as brothers. And when we came back, Ace decided to finally reinvent himself, put his life in his own control, because majority of his life has been dictated by his father. Like, you need to be in sports, you need to be athletically inclined, you need to get away from Duffy, make your mark on the world, and that didn't work out. And then with Jack in the last year before the show and during the show, he's been guiding Ace's life via the character he creates in the DWL, and then especially during the show where like he basically kind of takes away Ace's identity, his reputation with his writing, and Ace is not kind to that. He doesn't take that sitting down, and the way that they wrap him up this season, where like he gets a job, I think he's starting to find himself a little bit religiously. Also, the fact that he's finally able to contribute to the DW, actually, having a word, having a say in it, it's all great and such. But now in season 3, he's going to be facing himself a new challenge where, like, he wants to continue reinventing himself. He wants to keep figuring out who is Ace Spade, who is he. Like, he's not a football player. He's not a wrestler. Who is he? And the fact that Jack is going to most likely be AWOL for a while, that Ace is gonna have to step up and take the lead. He's gonna have to take over the DWL. That's gonna be a scary thought for him, because like he's never been in charge of anything. Like let's be honest, a week ago from that time period, he was just starting work at a senior center. He dyed his hair black and became a new character. That's like literally the most exciting thing his life has done. Now to kind of lead the DWL possibly throughout a streaming service, partnership, and becoming the sole writer is going to be a little bit difficult for him. Obviously, he'll probably welcome the challenge, but it's not something he's prepared for. This isn't something like he's had, training or, practice with Jack for. Like, he's obviously worked together with him. That's a completely separate thing. But to do what Jack does by managing the whole ship, he's never done before. That is scary. That is daunting. And, that's going to be interesting to see, like, will he rise to the challenge, or will he fumble? And then will he let his father's legacy die out just because he wasn't able to, like, fully take over for Jack? These are all really good questions, and I do believe, again, similar to Jack, Ace has the most potential to, like, really delve into some, really good new material here in the upcoming season, whenever that does come out. As for the other characters, we're like, there's a lot of them. Going to Crystal, Crystal had a very big upward trajectory in her popularity, becoming an official wrestler, then becoming the DWL, transcending with kind of kicking off the women's league, and then trying to be bought out by Dystopia. The woman's on fire right now, and also she's found love. Like, definitely she's going uphill, definitely. And with Willie kind of acting like her mentor figure in a way, not 100% really, but like close enough, is another interesting thing that we've been setting up for Crystal going into it. And her final decision to just stay at the DWL, regardless of how much money Gully can throw away, that the money for her doesn't matter. It means this is the family, it's the respect, it's the purpose she feels being in Duffy. That's her home. And I feel like her purpose next season is to continue her legacy, building out what she started in season 2 by fully going into the women's league, getting more wrestlers. It can't just be her and El Dorado forever. It needs to be a whole new roster of characters, and that's where I can imagine her like taking the lead there, maybe not getting a full 6 or 7, 8 more wrestlers, but like a few more wrestlers to kind of to keep things interesting every week. Definitely don't get stuck in the same rut here, and that would obviously introduce Crystal to kind of be a little bit like a mentor figure herself, maybe a little bit more so, especially if these are all newcomers to the wrestling scene. Definitely I can see her trying to impart some of the wisdom she learned as a valet to now her uprise momentum as a wrestler, but at the same time, she's still gaining in popularity. By the end of season 2, she was still growing. That wasn't stopping. So definitely there is a call to like that she could definitely keep moving the needle forward for her, and I wouldn't be surprised if like she gets too backs into the glory of the success that like maybe she'll stumble for a little bit because eventually the more you climb the very careful you got to make your steps because like you never really know when's going to be the next slip up. And but that was like really one exciting thing, and also Kelly Burton always kills it in her scenes. Great actor. I've been watching her since Lab Rats when I was a kid. Um, Willie has really stepped up this season. I think Willie was like a really great supporting player first season. This season we got to delve a little bit more into her about her own like struggles, her own regrets, especially with Wild Bill back full time with the DWL. That was great to see all of that, and the way we end her in season 2, we're like, okay, Crystal accepted she's in Duffy, but Willie didn't accept that. She didn't say anything. It seems like there's a part of her that maybe wants to go out to Florida and to finally get the wrestling dream that she wants. Maybe that is the trajectory she wants to take. Especially, but however, at the same time, with Jack being out of commission, Ace kind of like debatable on stepping up as leader, she might have to stay behind or leave them high and dry. It's a bit of a more conundrum between them, as well as the growing struggles at home with her family. That all I'm going to say is that season 3 has the potential to really break Willie. I think this could be the season similar to Jack, where like Willie just gets broken. Like this is too much for her to handle. She needs to like hit the pause button or hit self destruct or something because like it's going to become way too much for her down to a certain point. Because eventually you just really can't handle it. It's just too much. It's too much on your plate. It's too much in your mind to deal with. That eventually you're going to snap. You're going to break it. At a certain point there. Lastly, just I feel like those were the major 4 characters in this season. While Bill kind of stepped up to the roster, season 1 he was kind of like a minor antagonist. Not really like the big antagonist force. I feel like season 1 didn't really have. I don't even think season 2 had a real antagonist. It was just more like the opposition they had to play. And Wild Bill at the beginning of the season was mainly trying to poach Ace, trying to self-destruct the DWO, trying to like teach Jack a lesson, and that kind of backfired on him really hard. And that led to him self-imploding his own career, and then eventually having to like kind of beg himself to rejoin back to the DWL. But this season, I think of all the characters, Wild Bill is the one who sustained the most growth. He was the one that like really grew the most. Like I had a lot of like skepticism with him going into it, and then by the end of season 2, I'm like, I believe this character just needed redemption. He just needed like the right place where he belongs, and he did. And I think season 3 you continue that. I also there was a small scene in the season 2 finale where he's holding his heart, and he's concerned like, is he gonna have a heart attack or what's going on? Like this could be the beginning of like the decline of Wild Bill in a way that I would not be surprised, really, if at the end of season 3 he dies. So, and the way they were kind of teeing him up at the second half of season 2, where like he's teaching the current Duffy wrestler what they should know, what they should do, everything about promos. Basically, him imparting his wisdom to the next generation, especially to Diego, who we kind of like looked at as like a really good friend. That definitely is gonna set things up for his potential end, because like he's been drinking himself to death. He's done so much cocaine. He's put his body for the ringer that I will not be surprised if like something happens to him and like he has to go. I wouldn't be surprised, but I will be very remiss and I will be very sad if he does go. And that I would not have cared about that if he had died in season 1. But like after everything we've seen him in season 2, especially the flashback episode, was definitely like, I have such a newfound respect for Wild Bill that I cannot wait to see what this very concerning season has in store for him. There's like a lot for him like that's riding on him that that this could possibly not end well for anyone. And lastly, just in general, like because what I want to see from this season is just keep it going, keep the quality up. Like it is so hard right now for me personally to find really, really great television. It's really hard. And the fact that Heels came in and has such a perfect story, such a great cast of characters, got me interested in the wrestling world. I have no relation to wrestling, and they managed to like get me in hook, line, and sinker. And I'm just very happy about it. I'm really, it's such a great, phenomenal show that regardless of whatever they do, is just, they got to keep it going. They just got to keep the same quality going. That's just the number one thing they got to do. They got to keep going. Like they got the routine out 2 seasons in. Let's shake it up a little bit, but like still keep the same foundational core. Because like for me, just seeing these characters week to week growing and changing and maturing, or sometimes digressing, and it's like the journey is always great to see. It's always there are so many moments throughout season 2 where like you come full circle. Where like yes, this was earned. Yes, this was. I believe this line. I believe this moment because they've set it up so well. And even though like yeah, it hasn't been that long. It's only been 16 episodes of a show, but every minute they have on screen that they have, they use it wisely. They use it for a character's purpose or for a story purpose. They don't waste a minute. Like I can't usually there's like some episodes where like oh they do this scene to like kind of add to the runtime, kind of like get a little filler to the next scene, and like no, every scene in this episode, this season in this show is earned, and they call back on it at some way or form down the road. And the amount of planning and thinking and everything just had to be so well done to get to that quality. And I have the highest prediction that they will keep that same quality going into season 3. I do believe so. That this could be like I don't know how long the show's going to go for if they don't cancel it this season. I think this is a show that can go 4 or 5 seasons, nothing more than that. I think like this is a very tight knit story that needs to have some sort of conclusion eventually. But for now, we're still enjoying it. I think there's still a lot of more room, a lot of meat on the bone. That like as long as they naturally season it and naturally cook it, that this is going to be a great season, a great series for the future generations to watch. And that's what I wholeheartedly believe. And that's what I hope to see in season 3. More parties is have the same quality that the last 2 seasons have had, which have been nothing short but near perfection. Well, let me know in the comments below what do you want to see in the upcoming 3rd season of Heels, hopefully to arrive end of next year. I would love to hear your thoughts down below. I would love to talk to you about it. But again, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, this is What's the Two from ActionX, where we review things in the world of television. Normally we would be doing episode reviews. Right now we're kind of on a little break. We're doing this Heels wrap up. Next week you're going to get your season 2 review, non-spoiler edition for anyone who has yet to check out the 2nd season of Heels, which is now available on Starz. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Like, favorite, share if you want to. Ring the bell and follow social media. But until we see each other again, for all you Heels out there, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, stay safe out there. Be good to each other. And as always, peace out.